Y'all, man, it's your boy Rasfano. I'm back with another video. Now look, man, I'm gonna try to make this video quick, but I always say that and it ends up being like a pretty long video, right? But in one of my past videos I was talking about the pleasure cycle, right? And I've been reading this book, and I'm gonna give y'all the book is called The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F, right? I'm not gonna cuss, but that is the book title. You can look it up on YouTube. There's an audio book, the whole book, bro, right? We live in a crazy time. You can get the whole book. It's like 5 hours long or something like that. But it's a good book, right? And he tackles something called the backwards law. I posted this on my Instagram a while back, like probably like 6 months ago I posted it. Because I was familiar with it. It's something Alan Watts had coined. And it's called the backwards law. And basically what it is he says that wanting a positive experience is a negative experience, and accepting a negative experience is a positive experience, right? So it works in reverse. And I kind of tackled this in my pleasure cycle video, right? And this is something I think I've been talking about for a while now, but just the fact, like, in our lives, right, you seeking pleasure and it never really amounts to what you expect it to be, right? And I talk about the pedestal effect, man. If y'all not familiar with the pedestal effect, this is literally what it is, bro. Like, you're seeking something that is so high, right? Like, for instance, social media, right? Social media, it can be used for good, right? It just depends on how you use it. But largely how social media has been in my life before, I mean, like in high school, and just how it is for a lot of people in this generation, bro, it's kind of like a way for you to flex. It's a way for you to promote yourself, or to have like a persona or a mask or disguise that you portray yourself to society as, right? It's like your ego. It's like if you are this guy and you want to be seen as a popular guy who gets girls and you have money and all this different stuff, you can portray yourself as this, right? On social media, all your pictures, all your comments, all your captions, everything you hand pick, right? It's not all the ugly, it's everything up here, it's everything high. On the high end of the spectrum, it's all pretty, right? And also this got me thinking, like, in life, and I mean, I'm trying to come to understand, like, and he goes over this in the book, there's certain fibers of life that you can't take out, right? It's destructive if you take it out. You can't take out pain, suffering, sacrifice. These are like things that are necessary, right? It's duality, it's a balance of life, right? You need to have a polar opposite, polarity, right? And the reason he says this is because you can't basically take shortcuts, right? I kind of talked about like the house on the sand and the house on the rock, right? You need a firm foundation. You can't just take a shortcut, because once a storm comes, then you'll see what your foundation's really made of. But the reason I'm saying this is because I look at kind of social media and how I guess it affected me, and I'm sure it affected all y'all the same way. As I grew up looking at all these pictures of people who had a better life than me in that moment, because it was up on the high end, right? Obviously, like, you are you, and you know your struggles. And when all you're seeing from people you really don't know, because social media, largely, you might follow 1,000 people. You don't really know 1,000 people. There's like only a couple people that you really like truly know, like, their struggles and what they go through, right? So you're following 1,000 people, maybe even celebrities, and you think their life is perfect. And you kind of think that their life is like all up here, and that they really have no struggles or anything like that, because they're not posting them, right? And you're kind of like basing how much you know of this person based on what you're seeing on a screen or what you're hearing on TV. And obviously they're not going to portray their ugly side. The ego never would want to do that, bro. It's all up here. And so for me, this activated a part of my mind where I thought, oh, it's possible to just have a life up here, right? This was when I was young, and even recently I thought, okay, yeah, there is such thing as a life with no struggle. There is such thing as a life with no pain, with no suffering. Because social media, right, this new generation of social media, this new age of technology, it shifted my mind, bro. I thought that, oh yeah, well, these people are doing it, so I can too, right? Because these people are, whatever, they have money, fame, and there's nothing down here, because I'm not seeing any of it, right? And so it kind of shifted my mindset, and I thought, I can have a life that's super pretty and super amazing. I can take shortcuts to get there. I don't have to go through the pain, the suffering, but a basic truth of life, bro. And I got to be the one to say it. You got to go through those portals of sacrifice, suffering, pain to get what you really want, or else it won't be worth it. Like, imagine you were born, and I think he talked about the Buddha. He was born into like a rich family, and the dad wanted, the king wanted his son to basically have a life of no suffering. No suffering at all. He would have everything he ever wanted. Anything that brought him pleasure, anything he wanted, he would get instantly, right? And the son ended up being the Buddha, but he ended up just having less meaning to life. He didn't, like, because just imagine you had anything you ever wanted. I talked about Dan Blazarian. There's things in your life, right, that you might have a norm. You start getting everything you want. It's like nothing really brings you true happiness anymore. It doesn't, right? And so you go back to that backwards law, chasing happiness, it brings a negative experience because you have this expectation, right? You have this expectation of what happiness is. Like, how do you even define what happiness is? But if you put like a box in it and you say, okay, well, I'll be happy if I have a so-and-so amount of money. Then you get that money and you're like, well, I'm not that happy, because you had an idea of what happiness would be, right? You're like, well, if I had $1 million, I would just be beaming with joy and life would be amazing and everything would be solved. People would love me, all this, and then it doesn't happen, right? And so now you're like, well, maybe I need more money. And it's just a constant chase, bro. It's a constant cycle. It's a constant struggle, bro. It's a loop that you get caught up in, right? And he also talks about what you call accepting a negative experience as a positive experience, right? Like, trying to fight a negative experience just brings more struggle. And so that's something I'm trying to learn, is that in life, bro, things just happen, right? There's times in life where you just be like, bro, that's life. Like, so-and-so died, or something happened, or I got a health condition, or something like that. And it's like, that's life. Like, there's nothing you could do at a certain point. Like, you're not God. You can't just say, oh, I have a health condition, oh, I want it to go away. There's no, like, at the end of the day, you have to accept your fate. Acceptance is a strong energy, bro. You accept what happens, and now, like, that's your reality. You're not living in some fake figment where you're trying to pretend it's not real, or you're trying to pretend that a part of you isn't real. And that's the thing with social media, bro, that really gets me, is like, it's all fake, man. Like, people are fake as heck, man, and then it translates to real life. And the reason I say the pedestal effect is it's on social media, is that you have this version of you that's so perfect, it's so unattainable, that naturally you're going to be depressed and you're going to be anxious, because you can never live up to that. It's impossible, because it's not you, because you are you down here and up here. That's you. You are a culmination of all of that, but you were trying to go out in society and be something that is way up here. You set the bar high for no reason, right? For no reason. These people don't even know you, right? And that's the thing. We live in such an externally based world, bro. We live in such a biased world toward this social media and this technology, that people are trying to be something they're not. And that's the thing, it's all fake, bro. Like, none of it's real. And so that's honestly, man, bro, that's like one of my biggest pet peeves with social media, is people try to be something they're not. They try to be something they're not, but at the end of the day, it's hurting them the most, because then they start to lose themselves, and then they start to believe what's fake is actually real. And then we expect people to be real with us, but they're fake, bro. And I had posted on my social media too a long time ago, something along the lines of, like, you expect people to be real with you, but they're fake. They're living a lie, bro. These people are living a lie, and the ego will fight to death to keep the lie alive, bro. Because at the end of the day, they're living this lie, right? Imagine you, and I had said this before, it's like you build up this whole castle or whatever. You build up this whole building of what you are, but it's all fake. And then you start to come to the realization, oh my gosh, my life is fake. It's not real. What do you do at that point? You either drop your act, you drop the pride, you drop the ego, and say, well, I guess none of this is real. I'm going to destroy it. Right? You destroy that house on the sand, you cut down the tree, you're like, well, I guess I need to start again, or actually do something. Like, I need to actually start, because it's all fake. It was never real in the first place. Or you can just continue living a lie. And a lot of people, bro, and this is the thing, people say they'd rather have the ugly truth, or rather have the pretty lie than the ugly truth, bro. 99% of people would, because it just furthers that kind of fake idea that, and people always say, well, we live in a matrix, bro. If you believe that, then like a majority of people in this world, they could know that they're living one and still want to be here. They would still be perfectly fine with just going about their days, because they're comfortable. And whether or not it's a lie, it doesn't affect them at all. And that's the thing, man, is like, social media, it's a lie. All these things, and that was the thing with me, bro. I had to drop the ego. I had to drop an act. Because really, think to yourself, bro. If you want to really, like, improve yourself, like, have self-improvement, and really, like, get to the highest potential that you possibly have, you have to admit to yourself, okay, I'm not where I'm supposed to be. You have to, or else why would you have any reason to improve, right? And that's what he talks about too, is that's entitlement. You think to yourself, oh, I'm better than other people. You have an ego, you have a pride, you're portraying yourself way up here, so you start to believe that, but it hurts you, because then you think, oh, if I'm way up here and nobody's better than me, then why improve? I have no drive, I have no chip on my shoulder, there's no reason for me to push the boundaries, there's no reason, I'm already up here. And I talk about that with, like, just certain things like pornography, bro. People think their brain, they'll try to trick their brain into thinking they're getting everything they want. Same with drugs. They're so happy, but it's not real happiness, right? It's not real. And so now they're tricking themselves into thinking they have all this stuff, but there's no real reason to change. And so people get stuck in this cycle. They get stuck in the cycle, and then addiction happens, and it's even harder for them to change because they gave their will up to something outside of themselves. But that's the thing, man, is that if you really want to improve, you have to drop the pride and admit to yourself, I'm mediocre, I'm subpar, I need to improve. That's why I'm on this journey, because I'm nowhere close to where I need to be. But if you have this ego, this pride, you're saying, bro, I'm trying, but I'm the best out here, and I'm better than other people, and I'm this Mr. Cool guy, and all this stuff, and you're believing all these lies, you have no reason to improve, bro. You have no reason to change. It's the same thing. Like, it's just this entitlement, and this entitlement comes from, honestly, social media, bro. All this dopamine that we constantly can get at our fingertips. We're like a kid who just gets all this stimulation. All this stimulation, bro. We can't even control ourselves. And so that's the thing, man. I honestly don't even know what this video is about, but I'm just saying, bro, the backwards law, you seeking a positive experience. He also says this, seeking something is reinforcing the idea that you don't already have it. Me searching for happiness constantly is reinforcing the idea that there's something vacant inside myself that needs to be filled. And I'm thinking it's happiness, or maybe it is happiness, and there's something inside me. And as I constantly try to search for it, it's reinforcing the idea that I don't have it. Why would you search for something that you already have? There's no reason, right? So you're basically just reinforcing the idea you don't have it. And so the more like pretty you try to become, the more pretty or whatever, the more ugly you start to feel. No matter how you look, the more money that you want to chase, the more poor you feel, no matter how much money you have. Because it's not a real thing. It's like, it's these like expectations, bro, or whatever. Like everyone has like a different definition of success. Everyone has a different definition of love. There's these things that you can't really put in a box. It's not like something that's objectively or like science can explain. You can't really explain, okay, what is rich and what is rich? How do you determine someone is rich? How do you determine someone has wisdom? How do you determine a friendship? What would you describe that as? Like, it's just these things that you can't really describe them, right? And I was saying that because, like, I could tell you this story, bro. Like, I had a teacher, man, and he was a savage, right? He was a nice guy, but he was a savage. After every test or quiz, he would write the grades on the board, right? Everybody's grade, right? And so I used to be a pretty bad student, low-key, in math at least. And this was like my freshman year, so I wasn't a great student, right? I'll admit that straight up, I wasn't great. But I used to always know, okay, I for sure was on the bottom, like 10%. So he would write the grades on the board, right? 85, 92, 77, and then he'd write like 29. And everyone in the class would be like, dang, like, who got a 29? And I'd be sitting there like, yeah, bro, like, who got a 29? Knowing like, damn well, it was me. And so he would end up like passing it around, and people would be like, oh, I got a 72. And then he would pass me mine, right? Always would fold it in half, just because like, he had a little respect for me, not to just like slam it down on the table and let everyone see and have a big circle around it and have all these red marks all over it. So he would fold it in half, and then I wouldn't even look at it, bro. I'd just slide it straight in my backpack because I didn't even want to see it, bro. I'd be like, yeah, I already know. You know, like I already knew. But the reason I was saying this is because there was one day that I think it was like an easy test. I think it was like 5 questions, easy test, and I got an 80, right? And I was like, hey, that's good. But he wrote all the grades on the board, and 80 was like the lowest grade. Everyone else got hundreds, or they got half points, so they got like 90s or whatever. And so now this grade I thought was good, because other people had better grades than me, now all of a sudden that grade like lost its value, right? Or there was like, say there was a time where like someone got a 72, but that's the highest grade in the class. Okay, now that value goes up because comparative to other people, they did better. So you tell your mom, hey, I got an 80. She's like, oh, that's good, but it was the lowest grade in the class. She'd be like, well, what the heck? You say, well, I got a 72. She's like, well, that's bad, but it was the highest grade in the class. She'd be like, oh, well, then that's pretty decent, because she's compared it to other people. So I'm realizing in my life, bro, constantly it's like we compare ourselves to other people. The value of what we have is comparative to like other people. This 80 is better than a 72. You can't argue that, but the 72 was higher than the 80 in my mind, because comparative to other people, it was way higher, right? And so this constant search, bro, it's like we're like me personally, bro, and I know a lot of people in social media too, we compare ourselves 24/7. Like, that was my measurement of how good I was, comparative to how other people were compared to me, right? Like, if I got a $10 bill, oh, nice, I got $10. Dude across from me got 100. Now all of a sudden, I'm not happy anymore. I just got a free $10, but it wasn't enough for me to get the $10. But it was like, this dude got 100, so he got something better than me. Now I'm upset. And it's like, it's a tough cycle to get out of, bro, but it's true. It's like, how many of us measure ourselves comparative to other people? And it's other people that we don't even know their real story, because that's social media. You only see how good they are. So you could be like going through something and you're thinking to yourself, I'm doing good. I'm working hard, I'm doing good. And then you see a picture of a dude with money and women in Vegas and you're like, wow, I'm nothing. And now it all goes out the window because you see one photo, bro. One photograph can like tear you down for the whole culmination of your years of work or whatever. And it's crazy how that works, right? But I'm just realizing, like, man, like it wasn't even like real. Like the things I'm comparing myself aren't even like real things. It's just I'm going to the extreme. I'm thinking to myself, man, like these people are so much, they're all the way, they're light years ahead of me, and now I'm down here because the brain just goes to the extreme, bro. And that's just how I feel, like comparing myself to other people where I don't even know their real story, bro. Like I don't even know, you know what I mean? It's just like one small thing where it's not enough for me. You get $10, bro, and you think to yourself, it's not enough because this dude got more than me. And it's like a little kid, bro. It's like you give a kid a free toy, nice, now this dude has a toy and he wants that one now. And it's like we're all just kids at the end of the day. But yeah, man, I'm just trying to say, like, at the end of the day, man, I think social media, like, we just measure ourselves comparative to other people because we're comparative by nature. But it's like they say, man, the grass is always greener on the other side. You go to the other side, oh, the other side's greener. The other side's greener. The other side's greener, right? It's like your own reality is never enough. You always want something different, bro. Always, man. And then, like, people who make the most out of their situations, it's like dude could have way less greener grass, but he's making the most out of it, and now you're jealous of him, even though your grass is greener. But I don't know, man. That's just my 2 cents, bro. I will catch y'all, man. Comment down below what videos y'all want to see. Also, yeah, I don't think I got anything else to say. Hey, I'll catch y'all, man. Hook 'em horns. Peace out.